Hey guys, it's here bringing you another video. Now welcome back to another one of the high rating spectates that we do. Really good series for education. We get to see what the best players are doing on specific champions and we can learn from it directly. Today, meanwhile, if I actually do that, there we go. We're watching technically the best Lee Sin on EU West. So if I go through the stats of this player, because I know some people are always interested to that. This player currently is in Master. But with a 70% overall win rate, so clearly more than a master player, has had 116 116 games of Lee Sin with a 72 overall % win rate. It is, EU West's best Lee Sin statistically, but that only is rank 16 in the world. We say only. Obviously, that's still incredibly good, but that is probably because, why is that only rank 16? Is because Lee Sin, I feel, in a weird way, at least on my server, has dropped in popularity. Now, the weird thing is if you actually go off popularity on the website that I'm using, the most popular champion in League of Legends right now is Ezreal. Then it's still Lee Sin. Lee Sin is still the second most popular champion in League of Legends. But he has kind of fallen off. But if I go over while the early jungle clear is going to be happening, why is, the best EU West Lee Sin only ranked 16 in the world is because there is one server in particular that values Lee Sin more than any other server, and you can probably guess what that server is. Yes, it's Korea. So if you're looking through the world ranks of Lee Sin, number 1 is Korea, number 1, number 4, they're all Korea and also Turkey, as weird as that is. Korea and Turkey are the two big Korea servers. So that's why, the best EU West Lee Sin is a little bit down in the ranks. Now, the reason why we're doing a Lee Sin commentary today is I wanted to kind of just see, the question of this video is Lee Sin even worth playing anymore? The reason why is League of Legends is, as always, developing and people are learning. And obviously Lee Sin's playstyle has always been do well in the early game, have good utility in late game, but in essence, you have to try and get ahead early. If you don't, you're going to struggle. And as the game gets older, the player base gets better and wiser and smarter, and early game champions are finding it more difficult. So Lee Sin doing a relatively full clear, which is nice. Keeping his health, by the way, only has used 1 health potion so far. Gonna go for their first gank over on mid lane. Akali very low health already to the enemy Talia. Lee Sin looking for that random Q. Hits the E. They now know where Akali is, but they're going over to the left-hand side to block the tower exit, basically. Akali flashing into the territory of Lee Sin. Lee Sin flashing with the Q and does pick up the kill. Akali does go down. But yeah, I wanted to kind of just see, is it even worth playing Lee Sin anymore? I still do like the champion, but when you are playing an early game champion and you do bad, when you're doing bad, in the early game, it sucks. You kind of feel like, what's the point in picking this when I could play a mid to late game scaling champion? And even if I have a rough early game, I know I'm going to scale better. But we'll see how he does, see if there's any kind of cool Lee Sin things going on. Bot lane having a little bit of a fight. Red team does come out on top. Misfortune are going to go aggressive. Doesn't pick up. Lee Sin actually misses a second Q this game. Obviously, the first one being the blind Q, so we can't really, That's an okay one to miss. That one was more questionable, but they will go back into the jungle. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Are you somebody, question of this video, I guess, question of the day in the comment section. Are you still playing early game champions, or have you gone off early game champions because of what's been happening? If you don't snowball on a Lee or a Pantheon or a Shaker or something like that, do you feel like, oh, why did I pick this? I'd be interested to know your answer. Because as we said, is the League player base is getting smarter and smarter every year. If you take an average League of Legends player right now, which is what, mid-silver, you take that average League of Legends player now that's in mid-silver and you put them against a platinum player from a few years ago, can guarantee it's pretty close. The player base is constantly getting better. And that's why I've always said, right now, my main account, obviously we haven't been focusing on the main account recently. We will be, by the way, very soon. I'm slowly getting the vibe to play the main account properly again. Obviously, there's been the recent events but I'm feeling better. We're getting back to more normality. I do feel like I'll be back on the main account very soon. But, like, me now, that my main account is in Diamond 3, I'd probably say, you know, when I'm playing my main account actively, I'm probably high Diamond 2, probably at the moment. Maybe I'm not Diamond 1 right now, which is fine. I've got to play more to actually get better, turns out. I'm better now than I was when I was probably Master last year. As crazy as that sounds. Meanwhile, Lee Sin going to go for a gank. Picks up one kill. Meanwhile, Caitlyn gets the other. No assist for Lee on the Morg, because obviously he didn't W the Caitlyn or get any damage on the Morgana. But yeah, overall, really nice pressure by the Lee. You know, jungling at the moment. Graves has been involved in 2 kills, has 2 assists. Lee Sin now being involved in 3. Farm-wise, Lee Sin just leading, and now Dragon being taken. That's what you like to see. You know, as somebody that does jungle occasionally, bot lane is a lane that I like ganking. It's bottom mid. You will see, and this is the funny thing. I obviously have top lane as my most played this, you know, role. And when I'm playing top lane, I'm like, oh god, no jungle help. I'm going to be honest. I kind of understand why a lot of junglers may not go top. Is because the objective near top lane is Rift Herald, which you don't need the top laner to help you with. But for doing dragons, you'd want control with your bot lane. You'd want control with your mid laner to be around just in case. And that's not top lane. So I kind of understand why so many junglers ignore top. Meanwhile, the Lee Sin, by the way, item build, getting that Tiamat, and that is one thing worth noting. If you are looking to pick up Lee Sin or getting better with Lee Sin, meanwhile, Graves gets the shutdown on the Caitlyn. And also Talia goes down in mid, so this game is not a overall stomp or anything right now. Is this Lee Sin builds Tiamat every game practically. It just increases. Oh, here we go. Big potential, big boom. Gets himself a double kill instantly. Graves now on the back foot. Lee Sin going to go for that triple. Will they land the Q? Dodges does the Graves, and that will probably be that. So double kill for the Lee Sin, which is really nice. Don't know if there's any shutdowns in that. Nope, there was no shutdowns, but Lee Sin is now worth a shutdown himself for 400 gold. Graves is probably basing around here. Can Lee Sin do this? The longer you leave, he does land the Q. I do not know if this is a good idea. Oh, unfortunately for Graves, he flashes just before the Q connected, which means the Q did follow the flash. He needed a flash after it, but I think he was probably dead anyway. And also, Lee Sin takes no damage from the Graves, therefore an execute occurs. Unfortunate situation for the Graves. Meanwhile, Volibear does get a solo kill over on the Camille. I think he got ganked early and set far behind, but we shouldn't be that surprised that Volibear is getting a solo kill. That champion is, yeah. So what I will say of me recording this, I believe this will be tonight's second video. Meanwhile, Morgana, very close to death, does get killed by the Talia there, which is nice. Enemy team playing, friendly team to Lee Sin, playing quite well. Good roaming, good pressure. But yeah, patch notes will be nice double kill. Patch notes, I believe, are tomorrow. So we'll obviously have a little bit of a gander. We'll make a video about those. So if you are somebody who wants to keep up with the patch, make sure you check out the second video, which will be patch note day. Nice escape by Talia. Break the wall. Is that going to be the death of Caitlyn? Doesn't look like it. Akali can't get there through the mines of Moria. Lee Sin now, again, objective focus, going for this Rift Herald. Yeah, keep up the pressure. And the weird thing is, I would imagine this Lee Sin is going to take this Rift Herald and probably gank and then use Rift Herald early. The funny thing with Lee Sin, a lot of them hate having Rift Herald because what does that do? It gets rid of your trinket. That was weird. So again, apparently Camille is untouchable in her E. Lee Sin kicked at the wrong time. Volibear left. I don't know if he left because he saw that and was like, Jesus Christ, or he just DC'd. But yeah, Lee Sin's got Rift. That gets rid of his ward slot, and Lee Sin's like having the ward slot. But yeah, Camille does take damage. He has to go back. Volibear, though, obviously not using that time to get an XP lead because he's now not in the game. But does have his Sheen, which I presume is Triforce. Again, I guess you could buy Iceborne Gauntlet on Volibear, but I just don't think you probably need it. Volibear does return, though. Probably will TP to top lane so he doesn't miss out too much on XP. But yeah, one thing I've always had people ask me questions about when it comes to Lee Sin. Why do Lee Sin throw random abilities, his random Q out when he's doing farming or even killing towers? Lee Sin's passive. A lot of people don't notice. After Lee Sin uses an ability, his next 2 basic attacks gain 40% attack speed. So just using an ability, you're getting attack speed constantly in your Lee Sin. The general premise on Lee, and there's also energy revival in there too. The first attack restores 30 energy, the second attack restores 15. So as a Lee Sin player, what you're supposed to be doing with your jungle clearing and even DPS is use an ability, attack twice, use another ability, attack twice, and that's the same with your E and everything like that. Your E counts as 2 separate ability kind of uses. Meanwhile, Lee Sin going to go aggressive, does get the Q, does get the kill on the Misfortune. Morgana's probably in trouble here as well. Lee Sin will continue the attack. Nice slow by Lux and double kill over on the Morgana. 7-1 is now the Lee Sin with nothing too special actually happening, just pressure. The Lee Sin is just ending up in the right place at the right time, finishing off these kills, and that's what you kind of want. You want to early snowball without too much risk. Volibear unfortunately does get dove, I believe, in top lane, but did get the Graves, so it's a 1-for-1, but in a 2v1 situation. Lee Sin with his Rift Tower does break bot tower, and now he will rotate probably soon for the Dragon, but maybe he'll go mid tower to see if he can get 1 or 2 plates. Never mind, Dragon has spawned, and Lee Sin is instantly on it. Again, another thing that I think is very clear in the jungle, especially if you're playing an early game champion, early pressure, early scaling, is dragons. They take them. You know, a good jungler does recognize how important dragons are in League of Legends nowadays, and they don't want, well, it's one of 2 things. One, clearly, dragons make your team stronger, right? By basic principle, it gives us buffs, we're now stronger. But what I think a lot of people sometimes forget about, meanwhile Caitlyn kills the Camille, I think under tower, is it's not just making your team stronger, it's also about denying strength from the enemy team as well. For every dragon you take, that's a dragon that the enemy team now cannot have. That's important. And also, I think my arm of my mic mount might have just fallen. So I might have to hold it up for the rest of the video. I'll have to sort that out after. I don't know what's happened. But yeah, so in essence, that's why dragons are so important. You're giving your team strength, and you're also denying strength from the enemy team directly. Anyway, you see the enemy bot lane both being 0-5-0-5. Reverse can coming in. Nice kill by the Lee Sin. Good kick into the Misfortune, into the Morgana. Gets the kill on 1. And yes, the damage does follow through in mid-air. Lee Sin will go back, though. Item build-wise, has completed the Warrior, with obviously building the Tiamat first. Now buying Serrated Dirk, and this is kind of what, with his also Merc Treads. This is what you want to see from a Lee Sin. Early aggression. Going that Tiamat, obviously, before even his completed jungle item, that's a lot of strength in the early game, just for jungle clearing, which obviously Lee Sin, he doesn't struggle with jungle clearing, but sometimes he does struggle with speed of jungle clear. Meanwhile, Lee Sin is in the area. Akali just does, ults away. Nothing gained, nothing lost, to be honest, from either team. And Lee Sin will return and do a bit more farming. Both junglers, even though, and this is the weird thing about jungling, Lee Sin is 20 farm ahead of the Graves. He is 8-1. He's been involved in 10 kills versus Graves that has been involved in 4 kills. Somehow, the Graves is the same level as the Lee Sin. No idea how that's possible, but it is because of jungling. No idea. Anyway, Lee Sin going to pick up the next Scuttle Crab. Obviously, a good contested point for both junglers. That's XP. It's a neutral form of XP. If you're taking a Scuttle, and you both are basically just staying in your own jungle side, Scuttle is sometimes the big thing that can separate junglers. Meanwhile, Lee Sin hitting the Q on the Akali. Akali now on the back foot. Nice Q hit by the Lux, but the Camille does get 1 kill. Lee Sin! Oh, that was clean. Nice flash play by the Lee, and there you can see that is where the best EUS Lee Sin skill is coming into. Finally, the Lee Sin has a level advantage over on the Graves. Graves looking to 2v1. Talia not really landing too many of her CC abilities. Whoa, snap! Lee Sin misses his Q, and the Graves flashed into it. Feel free to rewind that. Literally, the Lee Sin missed, and Graves flashed into it. You could argue the point. Did Lee Sin predict that was going to happen? No, he didn't. The Graves just made a mistake. So, there we go. 11-1-2 Lee Sin now. By the way, also holding 2 control wards. This is, again, another common thing you will see. Why? This isn't for vision control for a Lee Sin. This is legitimately to enable him to ward jump. So, initially, he'll use his yellow trinket, which obviously is free. And then, if he doesn't have any yellows, he'll use the controls. That's what you need on Lee Sin. Next up, going for the next objective is the Lee. And you can kind of see, this Lee Sin has got complete control of this game. He's ganked a lot. He's been involved in over 50% kill participation just this game. But he's taken every dragon basically nearly on spawn. Well, the first one obviously not, but pretty quickly. Second dragon on spawn. He got the first Rift Herald. He's now got the second Rift Herald. He's not letting this Graves get momentum. Obviously, Graves is a jungler, one of the strongest junglers in the game at the moment. And now even Lee Sin invading, taking the blue because obviously he can see the Graves is down here, can't contest it. So he's denying strengths from the enemy team, as we mentioned earlier. But in essence, you know, the Graves as a jungler, very strong, needs farm, needs mid to late game, needs his items, and Lee Sin is just putting so much pressure on the game that it's unlikely it's going to get there. Lee Sin now split pushing, probably going to use the Rift Herald top lane if I had to guess. There's a big fight happening down in the enemy team jungle, and no Rift Herald, he's actually tanking a bit. He's going to return into the fight, clearing the minions with his, maybe he'll weaken it, then use Rift Herald near the end, who knows. Going to take the cannon, bit of more farm, and you know, this I don't know if he's going to use Rift, we'll see. He might get the tower anyway, is looking likely. You can see nice kiting, using the attack speed with his passive, gets it anyway, doesn't have to use Rift Herald, so we'll save it for now. Likely we'll go back by and maybe use it mid, because the mid tower has not been broken yet. You can see pings, Lee Sin pinging on the way to Dragon. Objective control. Item build has picked up a Yumu's and a Kingle Gem. Kingle Gem likely for a Black Cleaver. Doing a bit of farming on his way over. Knows where the Graves is. Graves is showing in vision right now, so obviously the Lee Sin knows they're not doing the dragon right now. Talia goes a little bit too deep, does find herself dead. Lux gonna try and escape and does so. Looking so. Lux actually a level ahead of the enemy Graves. Graves now finally, you can see, still level 9 versus Lee Sin's level 12. So now the XP difference is showing in the jungle. That, you know, the Graves hasn't been able to continue farming for a while now. Lee Sin has continued to. You know, Lee Sin is actually nearly double farm. Almost. Which is kind of crazy. 20 farm off. Alright, so Dragon being taken again by the Lee Sin's team. Graves finally getting himself a bit of farm. Lee Sin looking for that flank with the movement speed. Gets the kick into the combo. The Caitlyn ultimate. That is now a dead Graves. Mid lane tower, by the way, did get taken, so the Rift doesn't necessarily have to be used for that. But what I would expect would be happening very soon is a grouping situation would most likely occur. Use the Rift Herald, use it to push into the enemy base. That should be probably what should happen anyway. We'll see if it does. So you can see Lee Sin in the bottom left here, pinging inhibitor turret. So he is making the point, hey guys, maybe we should group to push, possibly. Rift Herald, I'm sorry, Scuttle Crab again being taken by him. Another neutral objective, level 13 against Graves' level 9. Popping his Yumu's randomly just for movement speed in the jungle to move faster around the map. You know red buff is spawning soon. Lux gets a solo kill just on the enemy AD carry. But this is another technical objective that might be being denied from the Graves. Again. So here it is, it's spawning. Lee Sin is straight on it. Graves probably crying at this stage. Why am I not getting any of these objectives? Well, because Lee Sin is just being very active, very aggressive, and not letting you get anything, basically. And this is where you have to get fed in the early game. If Lee Sin wasn't that fed in the early game and having all these items, you couldn't do this. By this stage, if Graves had equal strength to the Lee at 19 minutes, the Graves would have outscaled the Lee Sin by now. But because of the early game, it's the other way around. Rift Herald being used. Wow, percentage health, that must have been very close. Does crack open the enemy team's base though. Inhibitor open before 20 minutes. Lee Sin dodging Morgana Bind, going aggressive, does half health. Enemy team looking aggressive. Lee Sin getting a bit caught. Does a nice kick, getting the Graves under half health. And that will be a disengage for now. Engage again by the Camille. Akali doing a bit of damage. Does go down by the Lee Sin. Camille getting the kill on Talia. Volibear jumping in the back line. Camille going over to the enemy. Carries. Lee Sin will finish that off with the Caitlyn. Volibear killing everything, apparently. And yes, that was a 4v5 because Lux actually wasn't involved. Inhibitor will be taken. And that will be that so far. Damn, man. Again, enemy bot lane having a very off game. 0-8, 0-10, but it does happen. Snowball is a thing in League of Legends that does occur in every rating of the game. If you can't get momentum, you just keep getting ganked. You keep getting further behind. The enemy team gets every dragon, furthering their strength. How do you catch up? The answer is you don't sometimes, unless something magical happens. So Caitlyn gets caught out, does go down, and that will be them backing out of the enemy base probably for now. Probably a lot of gold is in the pocket of red team. Camille is looking. Meanwhile, Lux gets a kill with an assist for the Lee Sin, etc. Camille may be going a bit too aggressive here. Volibear is now here. Lee Sin with his Q, then with a double kill instantly. Legendary double kill. I think the enemy team might be underestimating how fed the Lee Sin is. Camille leaves the game, which I would presume is more or less the surrender vote maybe coming in, or it's just the rage quit because the game is over. There's another nice place where he W's to a ward to get some auto attacks on the Misfortune to force her. She didn't even flash, just to force some damage, and then finishes off with the Q. Lee Sin going aggressive once again. Is definitely on the back foot here. Is he going to go down? Any second. Doesn't go down right at the end. Enemy team, oh sorry, red team probably looking to end. Lee Sin does finally go down a little bit too greedy there with the Graves ultimate. Does finish him off, but 16-6. 172 farm at 21 minutes in the game. To be honest, that is incredibly impressive, even farm score, let alone if you're adding all the kills and the farm. That is obviously a very crazy big performance. Misfortune gets jumped on. Volibear looking to end the game. Can he end it? No, he can't. But will minions do it? Maybe not. Doesn't look like it. But will the enemy red bot lane jump over? Nope, well, there's the surrender vote. So yes, Camille did officially rage quit because it's only counting 4 of their surrender votes. And there you go. So that's Lee Sin. Is Lee Sin worth playing? Is the answer that this video was trying to answer itself. The answer is yes. If you have an early game like that. The problem is, and that is why Lee Sin is maybe falling a little bit in popularity on some servers. Not all, as we said, Korea and Turkey, he's still very popular. He's still a relatively popular champion, but he's definitely fallen in popularity. Definitely for, like, you know, when I used to main Lee Sin was season 3, 4, and 5 in that kind of area. That's the domination of Lee Sin. That's when it was about, you know, slow, you know, early game snowball and stuff. The player base has got smarter and it's harder to do these things on Lee Sin. But if you do snowball on early game Lee Sin, you do take all the objectives, he's still fantastic. He's still got that kind of magic to him that other junglers and other champions sometimes don't have. But that is going to be it. If you guys did enjoy it, throw a like on it. Let me know what champions you want to potentially see down below. And let me know, question of the day, are you still playing early game champions in League, or have you also gone off them? Let me know down below. Like, comment, subscribe. See you guys next time. Peace.